Hi everybody, it's John Burke from Ladera Ranch, California. I'm a student in the Intro to Music Production class and I'm really excited to be here. This is my man cave, this is my music studio. It's also my third car garage, and I'm joining you from Ladera Ranch, California. It's in South Orange County, and we're having a beautiful day today, and here I am doing my homework. So anyways, a little bit about me. I'm a part-time musician. I'm a higher ed administrator is my day job, part-time musician by night, and I've been playing in bands for about 12 years. I play keys, obviously, and I really enjoy it. I work my way up from garage bands to classic rock to kind of show bands. I've been in a wedding band for over 3 years, and we play casinos and weddings and corporate events and things like that. So show you my gear here. What you see here are three hardware synths. I've got a Korg M50. I've also got an old Yamaha S80. And I've got a Nord Stage 73, so semi-weighted. And then I also have here my little Mackie mixer. Out of view are my EV speakers. And then I also, for this class, I also bought an audio interface. This is the Roland Dual Capture EX. So I'm looking forward to learning how to use that. And so let's go to the lesson. Okay, for this week's assignment, I'm going to review audio basics, and that would be propagation, amplitude, frequency, and timbre. So the first topic is sound propagation. And sound propagation is basically the way that sound travels through air, typically for the human hearing experience, or sound obviously can travel through other mediums. It can travel through liquids, it can travel through water, and it can also travel through solids like rock or the walls in this room, for example. So in this environment, sound propagation is all about sound coming out of my speakers, which are just out of view there. The sound is propagating out of the speakers, and it's reflecting off of all the surfaces in the room, the walls, the instruments, the ceiling, the carpeting on the floor. And so sound is not only reflecting, but some of it is also absorbing into those other mediums, those hard surfaces. And then it's also leaking outside as well, because this room is not airtight. There's doors, there's cracks in the doors, and so there's also a necessity in my case to have to soundproof this room so that the sound propagation doesn't leak out excessively to my neighbors who would be concerned about that. Okay, the next topic is amplitude. And to the human ear, amplitude is perceived as loudness. Technically, amplitude is a measurable attribute of sound that is defined as the amount of compression and rarefication of sound through a given medium. In the case of the human ear, obviously the medium is air. And we could represent amplitude diagrammatically as a sound wave, and say sound is propagating in this direction, the x-axis being time. The height of the waves in the perpendicular direction is amplitude. Okay? And let's talk about units of measure. Decibels is the unit of measure in general for amplitude, although there's actually two types of decibel representations. To the human ear, the unit of measure is decibels sound pressure level, or dBSPL, where 0 is basically no amplitude or no sound perceived by the human ear, all the way up to well over 100 dBSPL is extremely loud range to the point of starting to damage the human ear as you get up into the 150 or so range. To a computer, however, or other device, electronic device, the unit of measure is dBFS, or decibels full scale. The difference being, in this case, 0 is the maximum level for our device, and then from there you go negative to negative numbers. The highest negative number would be basically 0 amplitude for that device. Okay, so let's demo amplitude on one of my keyboards. This is my Nord stage. I'm going to demonstrate now a low amplitude sound. And as I increase volume, I'm going to simply increase amplitude. The next topic is frequency. Frequency is perceived to the human ear as pitch, but technically frequency is the number of sound waves or sound vibrations, you could say, per second. And that's called, the units are actually called hertz. So 1 hertz is 1 sound wave or 1 sound vibration per second. Frequency can be represented again graphically, in this case, as the number of waves passing through a time-elapsed medium. So in this case, we see about 3 or 4 waves in this x-axis time horizon, whereas below that we see 6 or 7 waves in this time horizon, in the same time horizon. So this would be relatively low frequency, and this is relatively higher frequency. Okay? So let me demo frequency on my synthesizer. I'm going to play a sound. Okay? And I'm going to play the same sound source at a higher frequency. So again, it's perceived as pitch to the human ear. Okay, next topic is timbre. And it's related to frequency insofar as a given sound source has a full spectrum of frequencies. Not just the basic fundamental frequency that you hear in your human ear, but there's also an entire spectrum of other overtones frequencies that accompany a sound source. Typically those other frequencies aren't as pronounced, but they add color or flavor to that sound. So if I demo my patches on my synthesizer, again we're listening to a synth sound here. But if I change my patch on my synthesizer, I'm now going to a different sound source, and even though I can play the same tones, it's going to have a different color of sound. Okay, and that's an example of timbre. Different patches on my instrument are generating a different sound source, and we're going to have a different timbre of sound. Okay, now that's the end of today's lesson, and for those of you who would like to contact me to discuss this further or have any comments or questions, I want to show you my direct email address, jb.burke@gmail.com. Thank you. Talk to you soon.